It is time to tell you the story about how my wife and I met. This is kind of like an anniversary post. So before I do that, subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is how I met my wife. I realized I hadn't told this story yet, and I knew my anniversary's coming up, so I wanted to do this.
My gift to you.
My wife and I actually met a couple times. The first time we were actually young teenagers. I was like 12 or 13, and so she would have been 18. She's quite a bit older than me. It's not true. She was a year older. But I saw her. I met her at camp, and she was actually with a friend who she had met, and the two of them I was kind of hanging out with them a little bit at camp. And my wife was blonde, and then the other girl was brunette. And I was like, they're both pretty awesome girls. I should talk to my sister and get her advice. So I asked my sister, who was at camp, I was like, who should I date? I'm going to ask one of those two out. And she said, oh, the brunette for sure. So I was like, done. So I did not date my wife.
I smell romance.
The sun is beaming off of my, did you see you thought there's a sparkle in my eye? Talking about Heather, the girl that I did date. That's not the sparkle. Oh no. Anyway, she's the one that got away, Heather. I'm kidding. So moved to Saskatoon right after high school, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, to go to the University of Saskatchewan, and I'll tell you about that story some other time. But when I moved there, that thing, it's like totally, the sun is right off the glass into my face. There we go.
You're very easily distracted, aren't you?
So I moved to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to go to the University of Saskatchewan in none of your business. That's when, okay? None of your business. But when I moved there, I started going to a new church, Lakeview Church, and that's where I saw Carrie, met Carrie, I thought for the first time, because I didn't remember it was her camp. We figured it out later. And here's the thing about Carrie, my wife. She, early on in my stand-up career, after we were married, she would tell me, don't talk about what you're doing, and which is in social media days is like, what? That's unheard of. You have to. But she's like, don't talk about yourself. Let other people talk about you. It's way more impressive.
You're so wise.
It was kind of wise advice, but here's what I realized. She had done that with modeling. So she went and modeled in like Japan for a little while. She hadn't done it that long, but because she never ever talked about it and didn't say anything, people around just used to build her up. Like the stories I heard about her was like she was this international supermodel, which is tough to be a supermodel when you're 5'6". And she's not even 5'6". That's just what she lied. She said she's 5'5", I think.
This is the best anniversary ever!
But she was always dating somebody. That was the problem. She was always dating somebody. And so I would go into the jewelry store where she was working and pretend to look for watches for my mom or whatever. Like, hey, can you show me these earrings? I'm interested in thinking about getting a pair. I don't know. What about, show me these nose rings. I just wanted to talk to you. That's basically what I was doing, right? Like I was just, any excuse I could, I'd go in there and talk to her.
You're pretty sweet on her, aren't you?
So this is 2 or 3 years later, and I'm tree planting in summer, which I touch on a little bit sometimes, but I made decent money tree planting to pay for school. So I'd bought myself a 3/4 length leather jacket. Oh yeah, that's right. The soft leather, it looked a little collar, and I got myself a little gold rope chain, and my polo sweatshirts, like just I was that guy, the guy that everybody makes fun of in movies.
I wonder why.
So one time I went in there, and right after tree planting, and me and my buddies had just gotten back from California. I should talk about that story sometime. That's pretty good too. I went down to California, and I was going to date Karen Parsons, who played Hillary on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was my plan. It didn't work.
I'm surprised it didn't go well.
But I got back, went to the jewelry store, and I'm talking to Carrie's workmate, and she says, "Oh yeah, Carrie's single." I was was like, what? She's single? It's the first time she'd been single since I'd been there. There was like a sliver of time in my life when I had confidence, like just a tiny little bit of confidence. And so I seized the day.
Carpe diem. Let's seize the day.
Big 70% off all gold sale was the reason I kept bringing people back, but it was so I could go see Carrie. And anyway, I'm in there and I start talking to her this time, and we're talking. And it's funny because she kind of set me up a little bit to make my move, but I didn't catch it. So we're talking about young adults at our church and about that. And she said, "Do you go much?" And I was like, "Well, not particularly or whatever." And I don't go often. It's not really, don't know a lot of people anymore. Yeah, I don't know. They're playing volleyball. You going to that? And I was like, no, I don't. Volleyball's not my thing. And I was like, why are you going? And she was like, yeah, I thought I'd go. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll stop in, of course. But I totally missed my opportunity. Then I was backtracking, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously I'll show up, but I'm not going. I'll be there. I will go and there and be there, but I'm not going.
So you lied?
So not smooth. But anyways, that was it. That was my in. And so I grabbed my roommate who this is funny. So my roommate Jody, if it wasn't for him, I might not have asked out Carrie. Let me just say that. So I brought him. I said, come to Young Adults with me. We're going to play some volleyball and I'm going to ask her out. That was my plan. I'm going to ask out Carrie. So we get there, we're playing some volleyball. She wore jeans. I don't know why you wear jeans. Are you serious about volleyball or not?
Why are you taking this so seriously? It's just a marriage.
Anyway, middle of the night, I sat down beside her and was just talking with her for a while. I probably should have forced it a little bit, but I was nervous, and so I backed off.
Scared.
Then we went out to Pizza Hut after. Everybody's out. Now, here's the problem. We get in there a little bit late. Jody and I come in a little bit late, and there's one long table that they had all sat in, and she's right at the very end of the table, and it's full, completely full. And there's no other room around there. You can't bring any more tables in. The area is full. And so Jody and I go up and sit with these two younger girls. I can't even remember who they were, but they were way too young. Like, we're older end of the spectrum of young adults, and they were like, hey, we just finished high school. We're young adults. Are you, though?
It's judgy. Pretty judgy.
So we're sitting there, and I'm nervous, and I'm like, how can I go ask her now? Because everybody's there. And there was even a girl I was actually had tried to date who was sitting at that table earlier. We went on a couple dates. And the moment I walk up there, they're I know they're all going to be looking. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like strategizing, like, how am I going to do this? Maybe I'll wait till we're kind of leaving, and I'll just kind of catch her on the way out. But this is where my roommate Jody helped out a lot. He was making fun of me. He was like, I knew you wouldn't do it. You gonna do it? Do it right now. I'm like, well, I can't do it now. I'm gonna wait. There's people there. Oh, you're chicken. Bark, bark, bark. Like, he was being Jody. I don't know how to describe Jody to you. But he was just kind of teasing me. You are chicken. You're not gonna do it. I knew you wouldn't. Stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm not chicken. I'm gonna do it. And I just stood up. I basically went over there because I was mad. He was mocking me so much that it got me so angry. Because that's how all my decisions are usually made, in anger. And I walked over to the table and to talk to Carrie. And literally 20, 30 people all at the same time just go,
This is a little awkward.
And so I led with what I thought was a joke, because I wasn't a comedian then, so I didn't know any better. So I was like, hey, I was wondering if I could give you a call sometime. And she said, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. And then I just walked away. I came back to her like, oh, I guess I need your number if I'm going to go you. That's kind of my joke. Like, I thought that way I'll break the ice and ask her out at the same time. Didn't really work.
As long as you know.
And that's how we met. I waited a couple days because I was trying to be cool. And then I called her up and asked her on a date. I took her to a movie. First we went out to eat, and then I took her out to a movie. And the movie I took her out to was Mr. Saturday Night.
Sure don't like the sound of them drums.
Well, he's not their regular drummer.
About a washed-up comedian and how horrible he had been to his wife because he was a narcissist comedian. So I just wanted her to know what was in store. 26 years later, I have disappointed her for 26 years. Happy anniversary, and make sure that you thank Jody, because if it wasn't for him, you would have found a way better husband.